In this video, we're going to be working on an ASUS laptop that came in for no power. The model number on this laptop is GU502GV. And the laptop looks something like this. It's already taken apart. And customer is paying for expedited service so we can finish it for him as soon as possible. Our current queue is 3 to 6 weeks, as we have mentioned on our mail-in form. But there's an expedited service in case you want it urgent. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you want it for school, or whatever the case may be. Customer is paying for expedited service so we can work on it within 1 to 3 days. Let's read what the customer wrote. One day, this ASUS laptop would not power on. I tried the brand new power adapter, but it still did not power on. I also opened up the back of the unit and unplugged the battery cable from the motherboard and tried with just the power cord, but it still did not power on. There are no LEDs that come on when the power cord is plugged in either. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, obviously, it's a motherboard issue. No lights, no power. He unplugged the battery, tried with the charging adapter only, and no signs of power at all. We already have the board out, and the reason is we have to check the MOSFETs, the power MOSFETs on the board. We have one here, and we also have one on the back here. Right now, we have a big board, a huge board. Where should we start? We're going to start at the power connector area. That's the circuit that we're going to inspect first, and we'll take it from there. Let's go under the microscope and see what's going on in this area. Right here. So that's where the power cable plugs in. Now, the first thing I want to do is check to see if we have a short at the power connector here. Meter in diode mode. And no, we don't have a short. We have a voltage drop of 0.56. Now we can plug our power cable since we do not have a short. But even if we had a short here and we plug the power cable, the charging adapter is going to turn itself off. It's not going to supply any voltage for protection. So right now we have the charging cable plugged in. And we're going to measure here. Oops, not in diode mode, in voltage mode. And right now we are reading 19.9 volts right here. If you look at the meter and we measure the charging connector, we are reading 19.9 volts, which is good. Then we're going to check at this MOSFET. We are reading 19.9 volts. What about here? We are reading 0.15 volts. We have a problem. 0.15 volts. Let's unplug power. And if we measure in diode mode, what do we get? If I measure here in diode mode, we have voltage drop of 0.56, which is good. And if we measure the gate, nothing, and that's good. And if we measure here, we are getting a voltage drop of 2.0. We do not have a short on this side of the board. Now we're going to flip the board and look to see what's on back of the board. There should be one more MOSFET. And that MOSFET is right over here. And let's check that MOSFET in diode mode and see what's going on. We have a reading of 2.0 voltage drop. The gate, oh well. And we have a short. You see? We have a short on this MOSFET. That's it. Just consider the laptop fixed. Let's go ahead and set the voltage injection power supply to 1.2 volts, like you see now. And by the way, we are currently out of stock on this device. The past week was overwhelming. A lot of orders for 559 Flux, 213 Flux, and this voltage injection tool. We did 3 videos the past week fixing laptops using this device, and orders came in like crazy. And right now you cannot order unless we get this back in stock. But I think I'm gonna do it in a way where you can still back order and secure this device when it comes in. We are expecting a shipment in maybe 10 days or less. It's coming by DHL. So by the time they package the units and ship them over, it may take up to 10 days. You can keep checking the site or you can pre-order so we can secure one for you. So right now it's set at 1.2 volts. We're gonna inject voltage at this MOSFET, and we're going to monitor the board under a thermal camera and see what gets hot. Let's turn the thermal camera on. So right now the MOSFET that is shorting to ground is right here. And the board extends all the way to right here. So we have to look at the whole board when we inject voltage and see what gets hot. Right now the voltage injection tool is set at 1.2 volts. Let's go ahead and inject voltage. Whatever you see here, these are not hot spots, it's just metal shining. 1, 2, and let's inject 1.2 volts. And I see a heat spot right here. You see it? Now I took my probe off and look at this. Let's inject voltage again and monitor this area. Look at that. We have a heat spot right here. Right next to the screw hole. Okay, right here. So let's see what's in this area. Let's turn off this device and let's see what's in this area. So that's the screw hole right here, and heat came from this area, right next to the screw hole. Heat from this area could indicate that we may have a short here, and those caps are all connected in parallel. Or it could be that something on back of the board is shorted to ground. Let's flip the board and go here right next to the screw hole, and that's more like it. Look at this. Those caps do fail. And if I were to start removing caps, I would start with those two first. Probably this one here because it's closest to the screw hole, and see if we can get rid of that short. If we remove those two caps and we still have a short, then we're gonna have to go back, flip the board, and we're gonna attempt to desolder this cap and see if we still have a short. But right now, I'm gonna start with those two right here. This one here because this is the closest to the screw hole, and that's where heat was coming from. So we're gonna use our hot tweezers along with hot air because that's a big cap. And we're gonna start by desoldering this cap right here. Right, and we're gonna move it right here. Okay. And let's see, do we still have a short? Meter in diode mode. And the short is gone. That's it. Done. The short is gone. I'm gonna wait until the board cools down a bit. We're gonna inject voltage again and monitor to see if that area of the board still gets hot. Right now the area is hot because we applied hot air and used our hot tweezers. So maybe I can apply some alcohol to cool it down. We're gonna flip the board. Apply alcohol here so we can cool the board down. And let's inject voltage again and see if we still get a heat spot. And the area that initially got hot is right here, next to the screw hole. Let's go ahead and inject 1.2 volts and see if we still get a heat spot. 1, 2, 3. And look at that. Nothing. Done. I told you, consider this laptop fixed. But right now, of course, to save the world from complaints, we have to replace the capacitor. We do not know what the value of the capacitor is, but we're going to measure the one next to it. And we're going to get a capacitor that matches the value. Where did we remove the capacitor from? Oh, right here. Right there. We removed the capacitor from right over here. Okay. Initially, we measured a short here, and the FLIR cam showed us a heat spot here, and it turned out to be a shorted capacitor on back of the board. And now we're gonna grab our LCR meter. We're gonna go to capacitance mode. Right there. And let's measure. Usually the value is around 10 microfarads. And 10.2. Okay? Yeah, right there. So it's a 10 microfarads capacitor. And that's possibly a size 805. Let's put that capacitor back because it's a good one. And we're gonna apply, we're gonna have to prep the pads first. Apply Amtech 559 Flux. And for those still asking what the paste is, it's Flux. Amtech 559, you can purchase it off our site at NorthridgeFix.com. We are one of the major resellers of Amtech Flux. Let's solder this first one. Very nice. Okay. I'm gonna give this board to Big Boss to reassemble, and I'll be back. Okay. Let's plug the charging cable. It's going to take a few seconds because it doesn't have a hard drive, but you can see the light on the keyboard and right there. Amazing, amazing. Laptop is fixed, and let me know what you think. And that's it. We're going to end the video right here. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.